Hola, muy buenas tardes. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? So thank you very much, everyone, for being here again. I guess this is Mr. Moran TV show. So, that's funny. That sounds funny.
Nice, nice.
But anyways, we have a special guest today, Mr. Juan Aguilar Jr. Here in Livingston, California, and he is a candidate for mayor for the city of Livingston. Mr. Juan Aguilar, how you doing? Welcome.
Very, very good. Happy to be here. Saludos a todos. How's everybody doing? Thank you for having me here on the show, like you mentioned. But I'm excited and I'm happy to answer questions and thank you for providing this platform for us to get on and so people can hear from us.
Definitely, definitely. Well, first of all, thank you and welcome. So let's get started with the first question, and this is a question that I asked everyone. Who is Juan Aguilar Jr.? How long have you been in the community? And if you can tell us a little bit about your family.
Yes, absolutely. Juan Aguilar was born in Merced and raised in the city of Livingston. Went to every grade school. Graduated from Livingston High School. I have extended family, close family, everybody residing here in town, including my grandma.
Mm.
I'm raising my child. He's a freshman in Livingston High School. So definitely have been part of my community. I've seen it grow. Seen the up and downs of our community. So that's who I
Mm.
am. Definitely, my parents are, from Michoacan, Mexico,
Oh,
Changuitiro,
okay.
Michoacan. They came here very around the 70s to this Central Valley, and they stayed here in Livingston all their life.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So there is a big Aguilar family. I know a lot of people with surname Aguilar. Are you guys
Yes.
all related?
Yeah. So I mean, it's down the same family tree. Definitely, there's several branches, but the majority, I would say, of the Livingston Aguilars are related somehow. A lot of first, second, third cousins,
Wow.
different
Okay.
generations. But yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So you went through the school system here. When did you graduate from high school in
Uh,
Livingston?
you're gonna age me, bro? That's kidding. That's
So-
kidding. That's kidding. Year 2000. Shout out
okay.
to everybody from class of 2000.
I didn't mean to, but
No, no, it's
it
okay. I'm,
just
I'm
came
messing
out.
with you. I don't care.
Okay. Okay. And then, so from here, after high school, you went to college, and where was
Yes.
that?
So definitely after high school, I went to CSU Stanislaus. I
Okay.
obtained my criminal justice bachelor's degree. After that, I took about a year break and obtained my master's degree in social work
Okay.
from Stanislaus State. So definitely stayed local. I always love my community, love my town. Obviously, want to see the best for my little town. So.
Great. That's awesome. So my next question is, and uh, why did you decided to run for mayor? And
So
how
obviously,
long?
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. How
No, no,
long
go
have
ahead.
you been in the council? Yeah, how long have you been in the council, and why did you decide to run for mayor?
Okay, so I've been in the council my one term. My term's up this year. The reason I decided to run for mayor is because I want to see my town be better. I want to see my town improve in all different fronts. I invested in my community. I'm raising. I see. I have a point of view where I see what needs to be improved, what needs to be worked on. I'm very motivated, very hands-on, and I really, really want to see my city prosper. And I think I could provide that leadership to our council. I think I could bridge that mistrust that's existed between the city and our community members. I really believe that. I've been a volunteer firefighter for some time. I've coached, through the rec commission. I mean, rec department for many years. So I'm very involved in the community, and I see where we could improve. And I really want to take those steps um, to, like I said, to bridge the trust, to think outside the box, to then collaborate with different organizations, schools. Is better. It needs to be better communication. So I'm very excited, very motivated, that to definitely continue being part of the council and hopefully improve our city.
Okay. And then also, as you being part of the council for the last almost 4 years,
Hmm.
you have had an opportunity to also represent the city of Livingston in other commissions or in other committees around the county. Can you tell us a little bit of your experience in that?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm currently the representative for the city and the MCAG, so Merced County Association of Governments, which know controls the Measure V funding, different sources of funding, different projects, different things like that. I also was the representative for the League of Cities of California for the city. Also the liaison for the Rec Commission, and that's the Recreation Commission. Something I called to once again begin when I first started in the council, because I thought it was very important to have different members of the community participate and have a say in recreation and art programs. So I'm the liaison. I try to participate as much as possible with them. Um, Obviously, I'm a volunteer firefighter for Livingston for nearly 10 years, and
Wow.
I've continued coaching for about 10 years through the
Okay.
rec department, different sports, and the last few years was just baseball. So definitely, I'm vested in this community. Like I said, I'm hands-on. I'm also, organized or called for the beginning of a safety fair.
Okay.
So helped organize that. Our first year was a couple years ago. I'm trying to organize it again this year, of course, with our difficulties due to COVID, but maybe like a drive-through type of situation.
Mm.
I organized the annual pancake breakfast for the fire department, our fundraiser for a nonprofit organization, which is a volunteer company, fire company. So definitely, like I said, I like to be involved. Represent the city as best I can, respectfully, professionally, establish good relationships between everybody I see and improve in that side of things in regards to the city and the council.
Yes, in the last few years that I've been attending council meetings, I heard and I seen how you've been trying to find ways to try and bring another fire station to the city. How's that going?
Absolutely. Throughout the years from when I first began as a volunteer, we always heard the same thing for our elected officials. Oh, this is going to be the year we have a new fire station. This is going to be the year. But not until I think we made some progress since I've gotten in the council. We've any sale of any properties or any type of those things, we put it in a special fund uh, to fund a new fire station, and I think we're closer than ever to make that a reality. Also did a lot of research to see how other cities do it, and that's kind of what I bring. Like think outside the box, reach out to other communities, other jurisdictions. We could learn from other cities. There's different ways of doing and how they have funded fire stations. There's a big need for one here in the city. Replace the one we have. It's outdated. The sleeping quarters are inadequate. And if we are one day going to be self-sufficient and have our own fire department, we have to take those steps and have the lay work ready to go when it's time to have our own fire department. Because right now we contract with a county, or we partner
Okay.
up with a county fire department.
I think you already answered part of this next question, and then just to remind people, we're also going to have the same interview first in English and then in Spanish. That way we can make room for everyone to also ask questions. So my next question is, what makes you the best candidate for mayor of Livingston?
Yes, just like summarize. I think I'm vested in my community. I'm vested. It's not about me or what benefits me. It's what benefits the community. So I'm very, not selfish about that. I want to see the best, what benefits the most of us. To different ideas. We have the experience, the dedication, a hands-on approach. I want to see transparency. I want to improve trust and community relations. I want to improve our public safety. Continue with our recreation department. And public safety and recreation goes hand in hand, in my opinion. We need to have the outlet for the youth to be involved, and at the same time do a lot of community policing. And we need economic development. We need jobs. We need to establish good relationship with the current companies we have in town, which I think previous city councils and mayors have lacked on in reaching out to those companies and really partner up with them. We need housing, infrastructure, and obviously improving our water quality. So I think I have a
Right.
good vision for the future of our city. But all begins with trust and collaboration and respect.
Okay. So we do have some questions that we have here, and although this one's in Spanish, but you can answer it in English, and then we can later on do it in answer it in Spanish. Can you podría resumir las responsabilidades de un alcalde? What are the responsibilities of a mayor?
So, to me, the responsibilities of mayor are to be the leader in the council. Obviously, there's 5 votes. Things come up for discussion at the meetings. I think obviously it's separate votes. Everybody has their own ideas, their own thoughts, but it creates the mayor. It's the leader, sets boundaries in the meetings. Obviously, it conducts the meetings, but outside of that, it provides leadership and direction of where the city should be going. Has a foresight and thinks about the future, not only the present, but it sets those standards from the beginning. I believe it represents the city in different aspects, and different organizations. So obviously, I think that's the big piece, just in general, being the leader, setting the tone of where the council is going to be doing, working effectively with the city staff, like the city manager.
Mm,
Having, like I said, that vision for the future.
great, thank you.
And
So,
I mean, and just real quick, and ultimately, it's starting or establishing a good relationship with the public. And I think that the mayor has that responsibility to be accessible, be out there, be creative in how you go out there and talk to the community. For example, I would have uh, neighborhood meet and greets. Go out there to community. Obviously, we have poor attendance in our city council meetings, but you have to go out there. This is a working community. A lot of people work and can't make the meetings. So be having open office hours during the weekends. For myself, having neighborhood meet and greets, have be active in social media and things like that. I think the mayor has to
okay,
take the initiative to do stuff like that.
great, thank you. So we have a couple more questions. One of them is the last 3 to 6 months we hear about the increasing shootings. Do you have a plan for that?
Absolutely. I think, and being in the council now, I think we already started work with that, and obviously advocate for changes and addressing those concerns. I know we had discussions in regards to increasing our force, our police force. We talked about our reserve program, bringing a strong reserve program that has for the city to be able to afford having more bodies out there and watchful and and actively preventing stuff. But for me, it goes beyond that. It's continue working with the police chief, the city manager to be really strong with community policing, establishing that trust between the department and the community, reaching out to people. They used to go, like the chief has mentioned before, go door to door, meeting the public. So when something happens, people feel comfortable reaching out to the police. Better patrolling, and I think with better having that reserve program, will create better opportunities for patrolling because obviously we need more bodies out there, but it's all about communicating, having a good relationship with the community, to be able to address those things. Definitely.
Okay. Another question is speeding in many residential areas. Any input?
Absolutely. I used to live on Fernwood, where people would speed down that road out of control with so dangerous. There's been a couple of tragic incidents where people it's been serious. So we did establish a traffic commission or committee to
Mhm.
try to address those things. There's different areas to address when it comes to traffic, and different ideas. But for me, I would, continue taking an active role and, like I said, coming up with ideas, reaching out to other communities, how they're doing, or to address these things. More lighted crosswalks, speed bumps we talked about, so different things. But absolutely, I think the first step was establishing that traffic committee. But now I know there was it slowed down because of the COVID situation, but really push it. And to me, is to continue discussing what's going on, like in our meetings. Sometimes
Mhm.
we say we're establishing this and doesn't come up until months later. Every week, every time we have a meeting, bring it up, get an update, and see real progress, and not just talk and we'll get back at it 3 months later.
So more action
More
than just
action,
more action.
definitely.
Okay,
More
great.
hands-on, more action.
Yes. Another question. Lastly, major cuts were done in recreation funds in the last few years. Will those cuts continue?
I don't think there's been major cuts in the last few years. I know that due to the current budget situation, due to COVID, one of the position was frozen. That wasn't filled. I've been the biggest advocate for recreation. Definitely. There, due to the reason, there's some issues or discussions regarding the recreation department, is because the recreation department is not self-sufficient. It doesn't sustain itself. They receive money from the general fund, from the bigger budget pot. Um, so the discussions we have is not to cut funding or cut programs. Is to what we're trying to do is figure out how we're gonna have that department be self-sufficient. And there's different things we could do. For example, a grant writer. There's a lot of money out there that we need to have. We need to write grants for and get that money for the different programs out there. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna push for, is a grant writer, and I've been advocating for that. But we need to make it happen. A grant writer could actually pay for itself through those grants. Even a part-time grant writer will be beneficial. So I think those discussions is not about cutting funding for recreation. It's just to make it self-sufficient. Um,
Oh,
and then we could use the other general fund money for other things like public safety, stuff like that. Fundraising, I know the rec commission has done fundraising for different things. For example, we fixed a backboard with fundraising,
mhm.
bought baseball equipment, stuff like that. I don't want to cut any funding from recreation.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I would like to have grants to increase the funding, to have more programs, keep kids off the streets. Um, and that goes in hand with crime rates
Yes.
and public safety. So no, I'm a big advocate. I don't want to cut funding, or we try to avoid cutting funding as much as possible.
And then just to kind of follow up on that same question that Ms. Hernandez was asking, there are some other cities that actually have increased and not necessarily look at the recreation department as a need to be self-funded, but instead they actually include it in their budget to where the city or the general budget funds or and even adds to the recreation department in support of and thinking ahead of time and being proactive and to avoid having too many kids out on the street without opportunities to participate in some after school activities.
Hmm.
uh, could that be considered here instead of being considered to be that it needs to be
Hmm.
self-sufficient? Could it be considered as being funded by the city as an investment in the city?
Yeah, well, that's what's happening right now. It receives funding from the general fund budget or side of things to it supplements, to continue on with those programs and all that stuff. And absolutely, I mean, it's gonna continue being like that. To continue funding programs and stuff like that. What we want is to increase the different programs we have with grant writing, and yeah, make it more self-sufficient. Especially during these difficult, times economically speaking. We don't want to uh, having to cut any programs because we continue supplementing it with the general
Yes.
fund. We want, so I think having a grant writer will prevent anything from happening like that. But
Yes.
no, I think everybody, as far as I know, is having discussions. I think everybody's for recreation and continue
Okay.
programs. There's been discussion, like I said, to make it more myself. I'll continue advocating for it, being
Great.
creative, and supporting that. Yeah, I mean, I coached for 10
Great.
years, and I know what the needs are and all that stuff.
Great. Thank you. And I think you already answered this. This question came up before you mentioned about the outreach out in the community and being able to go out into different areas of town and kind of make that connection. Is there
Yeah,
anything else you want to
absolutely.
add? Yeah.
Just in general, I think a lot of everything needs to come out during the meetings, discussions. We can't have discussions behind doors, or we can. Sometimes in certain situations we obviously do, but it needs to come out, and we have to come out and be transparent more transparent as possible. Have those more discussions out in our meetings. Definitely, like I said, I plan to have neighborhood meet and greets, go out to community as much as possible, having like a meet and greet, or having office hours during the weekends, and continue being active on social media too. Nowadays, obviously, that's a big part of communication. Um, and be present. I'm already present in every community event, but I'm continue doing that. So just bringing more opportunities for people to really get to know their council, to ask those questions, and really have an active say, an active role in our local government.
Great. All right. Thank you for that. So here's another question. In Spanish, it says, digamos que usted gana estas elecciones. ¿Cuál sería su legado para sus hijos, la comunidad y el pueblo en general? So let's say that you win the elections. What will be your legacy for your kids, the community, and the city in general?
My legacy would, continue living leave a town that everybody's proud of, and that it's a healthy environment for our kids, our community members, and that is continued addressing the concerns we have, like public safety. Um, our water definitely needs to be addressed, or continue work on our water. Um, and like I know there'll be a general plan update here coming soon, and we have to look at an annexation of land. Be smart about that. Like I call it smart growth, where we respect our farmland. At the same time, bringing businesses that are good for Livingston, like provide jobs for our community, good paying jobs to our community. Um, that help fund our different programs, like in recreation or public safety. So I would say have a beautiful town that provides a healthy environment to raise our children. So I would try my best to continue working towards that. Obviously, you have a good vision for the future, and try to work towards that, and not only think about now, but think about 5 years, 10 years ahead. Like I mentioned earlier, making sure that we're set up when it's time for us to have our own fire department, that we're able to do that effectively.
Perfect.
Continue
Yes.
work with schools and all that stuff. Our school districts, our different partners, different organizations, and really have a trust between everybody. So yeah, definitely.
Great. So we have one last question. In terms of law enforcement, you mentioned that your plan is to increase the department with more bodies. How will you help ensure law enforcement is appropriately trained, especially with police brutality being a current world issue?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, yeah, that's one of something that we're gonna try to do. Absolutely. Have a reserve program. Get more bodies in there. But I also mentioned the community policing. Going out to community, creating that trust between the community and the police department. In regards to training, absolutely. I know we talked with the chief in regards to making sure that there's culturally sensitive training. Um, that our officers are able to speak our languages. Obviously, this is a very diverse community. We want to make sure that people could, relate to our officers, in regards to like language spoken, ethnicities. So definitely a lot of training, a lot of things that could be done. Obviously, professional education. But I think also by reaching out to the community, getting to know our community members, working with different nonprofit organizations or churches, they'll be able to understand our different cultures, our different ethnic backgrounds here in our town. And that would be something that they will begin to appreciate and respect and obviously protect. So absolutely, there's different things working hand in hand with the community that could benefit our law enforcement, not only, like I said, not only professional or education in a classroom setting or send them out for training and stuff like that, the education also it's on one-on-one and in person with the members of our actual city.
Muy bien. Great, thank you. So, ahora, para la oportunidad, aquí es donde tienes que practicar tu español.
Listo, vámonos.
Ok, muy bien. Pues una de las primeras preguntas es, ¿quién es Arturo? Hoy no más. ¿Quién es Juan Aguilar Jr.? ¿Cuánto tiempo ha vivido en la comunidad? Y si nos puede contar un poquito de su familia.
Sí, claro que sí. Juan Aguilar Jr. es alguien que nació aquí en Merced y criado aquí en la ciudad de Livingston. Mis papás emigraron de Michoacán, Changuitiro, Michoacán. Saludos a todo el municipio de Churincio, a Torrecillas, Changuitiro, a todos, esa bella personas. Emigraron aquí en los 70s, han vivido aquí en la ciudad de Livingston todo ese tiempo. Yo me crié aquí, fui a las escuelas aquí, a la Campus Park, a Yamato Colony, a la Middle School, a la High School. Me gradué de aquí. Fui a la Universidad de Stanislaus en Turlock. Me quedé aquí cerca. Estoy muy orgulloso de mi pueblo y quiero ver lo mejor para el pueblo, para nuestra ciudad, representarnos a todos, miembros de la comunidad igualmente, sin tener preferencia de nadie, solo que nos beneficie, lo que beneficia a todo el pueblo igual. Ese es Juan Aguilar, alguien que tengo a mi niño aquí, estoy criando a mi niño en la ciudad, tengo mis papás aquí, mi abuelita, mis tíos, tías, primos, primas. Estoy muy orgulloso de vivir aquí y tengo la energía y el querer de que la ciudad beneficie.
Muy bien, gracias. Usted actualmente ha estado en el concilio, ya va a ser 4 años, va a ser 4 años como concejal y ahora ha decidido correr para alcalde. ¿Por qué ahora decide correr para alcalde?
Okay, sí, he estado en el concilio un term, son 4 años, la primera vez que corrí. Quiero ser alcalde porque yo pienso que tengo la experiencia, la energía, la motivación para que nuestro pueblo salga adelante y tengamos todos los servicios en lugar para que nuestros niños, nuestros familiares, nuestra comunidad que quiera lo mejor para esta comunidad, que hable con acción y no más con palabras.
Muy
que lo haga
bien,
con acción
gracias.
y no más palabras.
Con palabras, correcto. Muy bien, gracias. Tenemos una pregunta que habían hecho anteriormente y ahora en español. ¿Podría resumir cuáles son las responsabilidades de un alcalde?
Un alcalde es el líder de la ciudad. Obviamente son 5 miembros del concilio, son 5 votos. El manejador de la ciudad es el que está ahí todos los días, el que hace las cosas al día, pero el concilio es el que pone la dirección o da la dirección a dónde va a ir la ciudad. El alcalde es el líder, y obviamente con su ejemplo, los demás siguen ese ejemplo y claro que esas son varias de las responsabilidades, pero también una gran responsabilidad que tiene el alcalde es de que tiene que tener esa confianza, el pueblo tiene que tener la confianza de ese líder. So, hay diferentes cosas que podemos hacer para que la comunidad se sienta a gusto, confíe en el concilio. Obviamente en las juntas es el que conducte las juntas en la ciudad. Eso es más o menos lo que hace el alcalde. Representa a la ciudad en diferentes organizaciones. Es el que, como dije, va y trata de hablar con diferentes líderes del estado, del condado, y mantiene buena relación entre todos miembros de la comunidad. Es más o menos.
Muy bien. Una de las otras preguntas que habían hecho anteriormente, en los últimos 3 a 6 meses hemos escuchado sobre un incremento de tiroteos. ¿Tiene algún plan para eso?
Sí, ya empezamos a trabajar para, obviamente, lo que está sucediendo con los tiroteos. Una de lo que estamos tratando de hacer, obviamente, tener más oficiales, ¿verdad? O tener un programa de reservas de oficiales. Pero eso no es todo. Obviamente, no más con tener más oficiales va para todo. Tiene que haber confianza entre el departamento de policía y la comunidad. Para prevenir cosas así, por si algo pasa, la gente se sienta a gusto y vaya a hablar al departamento de policía. Y lo que yo le pido al jefe de policía que haga y que continúe haciendo es que mande a sus oficiales a la comunidad, a hablar con los miembros de la comunidad, vaya a sus casas, hablen con todos los miembros de la comunidad para que la gente sepan quién es los oficiales, tengan confianza, se sientan a gusto. Mucho trabajo en la comunidad. Eso es dos cosas. Obviamente necesitamos más oficiales porque hemos estado bajos por un tiempo, pero también es importante que vayan a la comunidad y tengan esa confianza.
Muy bien. Una de las otras preguntas es que habían hecho anteriormente. Ha habido un poquito de problemas de velocidad, de personas manejando a alta velocidad en las calles de la ciudad. Algo que se está haciendo sobre eso.
Sí, claro que sí. Yo, obviamente, viviendo aquí toda mi vida, tengo la experiencia de vivido en calles donde ese es un gran problema, donde pasan a todo y a veces hay niños jugando y es muy peligroso. Son unas cosas que hemos hecho y vamos a continuar trabajando, es hacer un comité de tráfico, donde miembros de la comunidad son parte de eso y pueden discutir o decir dónde son los problemas que hay en la ciudad, en qué calles, en qué áreas de tráfico, para poder hacer algo. Hay diferentes cosas que podemos hacer. Podemos poner más luces con crosswalks, hasta how do you say bumps,
Bumps.
speed bumps. Diferentes cosas que podemos hacer para prevenir todo eso, pero lo más importante para un proceso así, para empezar a trabajar, es que tengamos comunicación con el pueblo, que la gente nos diga dónde es el problema, qué es lo que hay, porque ellos, obviamente, ustedes en sus calles miran esto, y si no sabemos, no lo podemos arreglar.
Claro.
Comunicación es lo más importante, que nos digan, este es el problema, estas son nuestras ideas, qué es lo que puede ser la ciudad, para poder hacerlo. Pero obviamente, como alcalde, de seguir discutiéndolo, de tener esas discusiones, de tener esas comunicaciones, porque si traemos algo a una junta y luego no sabemos nada hasta 6 meses después, obviamente eso no es bueno. Tenemos que hablar en cada junta lo que está pasando, más acción.
Más acción. Ok, muy bien. Creo que mencionaste algo muy importante, que mencionaste sobre la confianza de la ciudad con los residentes o de los residentes hacia la ciudad o el departamento de policía, porque es muy importante cuando los vecinos o los vecindarios son los que cuidan o ayudan a cuidar sus vecindarios. Ellos ayudan a comunicarse sea con la ciudad o con el departamento de policía cuando está pasando algo raro. Entonces es más sobre prevenir, ayudar a prevenir. Entonces creo que se ha estado platicando un poquito sobre ah, los comités de residentes en los vecindarios para ayudar a, a mantener un poquito el orden, podamos decir, ¿no? Entonces,
Sí.
lo que acabas de mencionar es muy importante, la confianza entre
Sí, claro que
ambos.
sí. Es muy importante esa comunicación, esa confianza, porque como obviamente, si la gente no tiene confianza, dice, no, ¿para qué le llamo a la policía? Ni van a hacer nada, olvídate. Pero si tienen confianza y se siente que pueden confiar en el departamento, obviamente van a llamar, ven, ayúdanos, o esto está pasando, eso es muy importante. Y
Sí,
también con el concilio igualmente, como alcalde, yo quisiera tener diferentes reuniones en los diferentes vecindarios aquí de la ciudad, tener horas de oficina en los fines de semana, diferentes cosas para empezar esa buena comunicación con el pueblo.
muy bien, gracias. Otra pregunta que habían hecho anteriormente, este, major cuts were done in recreation funds in the last few years. Will those cuts continue? Algunos cortes de fondos para el programa de recreación se han recortado en los últimos años. ¿Seguirán esos recortes?
No, no, como dije en inglés, no ha habido cortes necesariamente. Lo que sí hicimos este año, porque hubo obviamente la situación económica por el COVID, este, está mal, ¿verdad? Estuvo mal el primer parte del año. Lo que hicimos es que una posición que no había trabajador o trabajadora, la suspendimos por ahorita. Pero como dije en inglés, el departamento de recreación es muy importante para mí. Yo he sido coach por muchos años, casi 10 años, de diferentes deportes aquí en la ciudad, como y béisbol los últimos años. Yo empecé el comité del departamento de la recreación para tener más miembros de la comunidad participar en nuestro departamento en la ciudad. So, es muy importante para mí. Yo no quiero cortar programas. Lo que sí quisiera es tener a alguien que hace las aplicaciones para las diferentes oportunidades de fondos que hay, como en el estado federal, para seguir teniendo esos programas. Y también va a ayudar con la operación total del departamento. Es algo que sí hemos tenido discusiones de cómo vamos a tener ese departamento que se mantenga, ¿verdad? A sí mismo.
Sí.
Pero obviamente cada año parte del fondo general se va a la recreación. Yo sé que el departamento de recreación va mano a mano con la seguridad pública. Es muy importante tener algo que los niños participen, que no estén en la calle nomás, y seguir teniendo diferentes, ser creativo, tener diferentes programas, y seguir entreteniendo a nuestros niños y que estén seguros. Es muy
Ah,
importante.
muy bien, y creo que ahorita estaba pensando en otra pregunta
Ujú.
que no ha sido hecha por el público. Anteriormente, en los últimos meses, aún todavía sobre una presentación que hubo en la última reunión del concilio, hubo una petición o pláticas y una petición de uno de los otros concejales para considerar cerrar cierta parte de algunos parques de la ciudad, que es
Ujú.
en el área del Water Basin,
Sí.
el área donde se recolecta el agua durante la temporada de lluvias.
Ujú.
Había un concejal que quería considerar ya no mantener en buena condición esa área del parque, que es
Ujú.
casi, yo pienso que es casi un 30-40% de nuestros área de
Ujú.
parques en toda la ciudad.
Ujú.
Este, ¿qué, ¿Qué opinaba usted sobre ese tema?
Ah, para mí no es bueno cerrar esas áreas. Creo que las preguntas que hicieron querían saber cuánto costaba o si a lo mejor era un beneficio como económicamente para la ciudad en estos tiempos difíciles. Pero tenemos que obviamente mirar si es bueno o no, si nos beneficia o no. Pero últimamente son áreas donde niños juegan o es para el público, para el beneficio del público general, ¿verdad? Um, También hubo discusión como si en tiempo de invierno, cuando la gente no lo usa, pero luego tal vez va a ser muy caro de otra vez de tenerlo para tiempo de calor, de tenerlo para atrás como debe de ser. So, últimamente decimos que obviamente no es algo que queremos hacer. Um, pero para mí eso no era buena idea, porque obviamente tenemos que tener esas áreas listas para nuestro público, para que la gente pueda salir al parque y todo eso, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Pero al mismo tiempo es bueno de tener discusiones así, diferentes ideas, ¿verdad? Para ver ¿verdad? Diferentes miembros del concilio tienen diferentes ideas, quieren saber diferentes cosas, o es
muy
bueno de
bien.
tener discusiones así en general.
Claro,
Yeah,
claro,
yeah.
muy bien. Otra de las preguntas es, digamos que usted gana estas elecciones, ¿cuál sería su legado para sus hijos, la comunidad y el pueblo en general?
Para mí es tener un pueblo que está seguro, es seguro, tiene un buen futuro para nuestros niños. Ah, so, para mí es dejar un buen departamento de seguridad pública, buenas relaciones entre el gobierno y el pueblo, mantener nuestras calles y nuestros parques limpios y bonitos, que nuestros hijos y la comunidad esté orgullosa de este pueblo, de nuestro pueblo. Y obviamente en el periodo, los años que tenga de alcalde, trabajar para eso. Obviamente es mucho trabajo y muchos años y tener una buena visión para el futuro, pero seguir manteniendo nuestro pueblo seguro y saludable para el futuro de nuestros niños.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Otra pregunta es, en términos de law enforcement, de la policía, usted mencionó que tiene un plan para incrementar más personal en el departamento de policía. ¿Cómo usted se asegurará para que los oficiales estén propiamente entrenados para evitar la brutalidad policial?
So, sí, es algo que dije en inglés o en español, obviamente que sí necesitamos más oficiales, pero al mismo tiempo necesitamos que los oficiales vayan tengan para que haya confianza entre el pueblo y los oficiales, ¿verdad? Son dos cosas. Um, Obviamente, el, el país ustedes han mirado obviamente, relaciones de diferentes razas y todo eso con los policías y brutalidad de policías. Um, o mi plan de cómo vamos a entrenar a estos oficiales? So, obviamente hay entrenamiento profesional que los policías pueden hacer en clases, a diferentes universidades o colegios, lo que sea, ¿verdad? O aquí en el departamento de policía, pero la educación de pueden tener buena educación es de ir al pueblo, ir a la comunidad, hablar con miembros de las diferentes culturas y aprender con nuestros miembros de las culturas diferentes. Yo pienso que esa es una educación mejor que pueden tener los oficiales. Obviamente para mí también es importante tener oficiales que la gente tenga confianza, que se miren como nosotros, que sean latinos, mexicanos, que hablen nuestro idioma, porque eso obviamente también trae confianza, ¿verdad? Es más probable que el policía se comunique mejor a veces, ¿verdad? Pero para mí eso es importante porque a veces no ha habido muchos latinos o mexicanos en el departamento y es importante que reconozcamos que eso es importante también.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Y una pregunta que apenas pusieron de la señora Hernández. ¿Does Livingston have a neighborhood watch program? ¿La
They
ciudad de
do,
Livingston tiene algún programa de cuidado de los vecindarios?
they do, and I think Jose, didn't you took a lead on that, right?
Yes. Well, yes, there is a program, but it needs to be improved, and obviously it needs to be expanded into different neighborhoods. And I think there's a lot of interest from different areas, but we need to have citizens or residents from those areas be in charge or take the lead as well. And then,
Yes.
yes,
I'll say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great that you started the one you started, but you're right. An expansion would be nice, but even more exposure or education from the city too, in regards to programs like that. It's very important. Excuse me. For the city to educate the people what different programs that are available. But absolutely, I think the Neighborhood Watch is a good program that different neighborhoods should get together and start one.
Yes, and definitely we can continue the conversation about the Neighborhood Watch program, which in our area we were able to advocate for an additional lighting of the park, and that decreased the cases or the different things that were going on at the park by 90%. Just how one item or one thing can really benefit the entire neighborhood.
Absolutely. And just real quick, I know there's other neighborhoods. They seen what happened with the lighting and that park on the other side of town, and there was a Don Myers park also. I think there's some concern with lighting there, and I had talked to a couple of residents around that area. And so yeah, I would love to continue, hopefully work with that group and of citizens in that area and advocate for lighting, because it's really dark. I've been there at night, and it's really dark, and then obviously well lighted areas prevents or deters some criminal activity.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so just to kind of wrap it up, is there anything else you want to add before we conclude this conversation? Algo que quiera agregar para culminar esta conversación.
Just in general, I hope people got to know a little bit about myself, by why I'm so vested in this community and why I want to see it prosper and be the best community it could be. I really hope people will support me and vote for me this coming election. Like I said, I'm very vested in my community. I have my son growing here. I've been involved in the fire department for many years, recreation for many years. I want to see what benefits all of us and what's best for the whole community, just not just one specific group, and not for myself. Definitely, it's what benefits us most. I think communication. I really want to have the opportunity to collaborate and cooperate with different groups and organizations, and really have a transparent, mayor, term. So I really hope, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And then en español, real quick, gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí, y ojalá y aprendieron un poquito de por qué quiero ser alcalde aquí en la ciudad de Livingston. Si tienen preguntas, por favor, comuníquense conmigo. Como le dije, quiero lo mejor para nuestra ciudad, para todos de nuestra ciudad, dejar o tener una oportunidad para seguir trabajando en nuestro pueblo para lo mejor.
Muy bien. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Aguilar. And with that, I just want to remind people that it's still time to register to vote. You have actually, if you register before October 15, you can still get your ballot in the mail, and actually you can register up until November 3rd. You just have to show up and come in at the polling place, and you can register right there. They'll give you a ballot, and send them both in. Todavía se puede registrar para votar. Aún todavía, si se registra antes del 15 de octubre, puede recibir su boleta de votación por el correo, y todo eso se puede registrar hasta el mero día de las elecciones, el día 3 de noviembre. Ahí pide su registro y su boleta, se le entregan ahí mismo y las envía a las dos, y listo. Así que, other than that, well, thank you very much, Mr. Aguilar, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. And
well,
I guess
thank you, Jose. Thank you, and I appreciate you having, like I said, having these interviews with different candidates. Thank you for providing the platform. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Good job. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.